Welcome to the Gray Area Podcast, the show where two regular guys dive into everything from sports to movies, current events, and whatever else comes to mind, all with a healthy dose of humor and unfiltered opinions. I'm Brooks.
Yo soy Travis. So whether you're here for a laugh, a hot take, or just to hang out, we got you covered.
And today, we discuss raising young women, what it was like growing up in the good old days, and we dive into the junk drawer, and there's some old dudes in there as well. So keep it tuned right here. You're listening to the Gray Area Podcast, where the answers aren't always black and white, but the laughs are guaranteed. All right, Travis.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah? You doing good?
Happy Wednesday.
It is a Wednesday. Yep. We're actually recording this episode on this Wednesday, which is a week from last Wednesday when we recorded it. I'm going out of town, going up to the northern parts of the states. Going to go watch my nephews wrestle at state, if you can see it. Brock and Brody, we talked about them last weekend.
Walking muscles.
Walking muscles. Yep. And so we got to get this out of the way and get it for the masses.
That's right.
All right, we're going to jump into segment one where we talk about, last week we talked about raising young men. And this week we're going to talk about raising young women because we both have sons, we both have daughters, and we felt that it would be ideal to share with you some experiences that we've gone through, maybe some tips, some things to focus on. If you got a little one, what's to come?
Scary.
Scary.
All the scary things.
Right. 'Cause right now, my daughter's 21 and yours is? 16. So he's in the thick of it, and I'm in the I know all phase as well. So let's just jump into some of these. We put a few points together, and we'll just elaborate on those as we go.
So your daughter's your oldest, right, though?
Yes.
So quick question as we get into it. When you find out you're having a daughter, that's your first child, right? I come from a family of all boys. Mm-hmm. What about you? Family of boys, mix?
I have a sister and brothers.
So what were your thoughts when you found out a girl?
Well, so I'm actually stepdad.
Okay.
But I came into my daughter's life at a young, early age of 3. So I've been in the show, in the show is what I like to call it, for a long time, right? So I didn't actually have that experience of finding out that I was going to have a daughter, but I could imagine that I would be a mess upstairs in the head.
Yeah, I'm sure even being stepdad to a girl.
Sure.
That's a whole different process,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I know I never thought I would have a girl. Mm-hmm. Wasn't possible, and didn't think. And the doctor told, it's a girl. And I was like, no, not a girl. No. And my initial thought was like, how do they go to the bathroom? Like, I don't know all the rules.
Rules.
Right? I don't know the rules of that.
Right.
So that was the initial first thought that I went through, and learned a lot since then.
Oh yeah, for me it's been a journey. I mean, 3 years old. Of course, I missed the majority of the diaper stage, but for Zoe, my daughter, I jumped in to a 3-year-old who was pretty much a teenager.
At 3.
At 3. Oh yeah, she could hold full-on conversations with adults. Very well spoken, just kind of very imaginative, but she could hold a conversation with
Avery was that way too. I remember we took her on a cruise before she turned 2, and she was talking to everybody that was there and engaging with it, and they were just kind of like blown away with it. She still talks a lot.
Well, I'll elaborate on some talking a lot. So our daughter would talk to the wall if she could, if it would listen to her, because I just think that's the difference between boys and girls. Girls love to talk, the communication portion, and the boys part where they really just don't talk like that.
Yeah.
And to this day, I would feel bad as a parent, and she would just keep talking and talking and talking for as long as you're sitting there with her, she would continue, and you would feel bad if you had to break that conversation up.
Even as you're walking away.
Yeah.
Talking, following you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. But
now you miss it, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. She's out of the house, so, but she does come back, and it's good to have her back.
Yeah.
So some of the points that we're going to talk about, we'll elaborate on them. Like the first one here is encourage their interests and passions. Let them explore various activities and support their chosen pursuit, right? Whether it's sports, arts, singing, academics, whatever it is, jump in wholeheartedly and support that.
Yeah, so Avery, I was dead set she was going to be a softball girl, right? I bought all the sports stuff, like I'm raising up a athlete. And then at 3, put her in dance, and that was the life for the next 10 years was dance, which is insanely expensive.
Yes.
Insanely expensive, but she's amazing at it. She did really good. She's very dramatic, so she kind of went to the dramatic theater type dancing, and then now she's in choir and theater and excels in that. Still an athlete when it comes to certain things.
Yeah, she's competitive.
She's very competitive.
Yes.
Yeah, but her niche was art, and that's really what she wants to pursue, into college.
She's actually, so I saw some of your Facebook videos of her performances. She's really good.
She's really good.
She's very dramatic.
Very dramatic.
And when you're on, so I did theater in high school. So when you're on a stage and you're far away, you don't have a camera zoomed in on you. You have to be bigger, right? And she does it really well.
She's been a lead the last couple of years, and then next year will be senior year. She'll be lead. We don't know what that musical is going to be yet, but it's been a blast. She's been nominated for a lot of awards and stuff like that. She's got a good future with it if she'll stick with it.
She's a very good singer. Yeah. That's awesome.
She gets it from me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. The songbird of our generation.
We've heard you sing on here before.
And it was great.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, for Zoe, we did the same thing. Well, first off, when I came into the picture, she was heavily into dance, and then when I came into the picture, it was, all right, let's get the softball going. So when we moved to West Texas, it was, I was softball coach, and she would sit out in the field and she would say, I'm parched, and so she needed a drink of water, or she'd play with the daisies or whatever is in the field. And that didn't last very long. But then as she got older and then to middle school, she did try volleyball and basketball. She made the basketball team in middle school and just didn't have the confidence to be out there. But she was very aggressive on the basketball court. But her passion was singing. She's always sung everywhere. We were actually just watching home videos the other day, and we had taken a video. My wife was videoing, and I was playing the guitar, and she just makes up a song on the spot and can go with the guitar chords, changing, she'd change her tone, whatever. She's just really gifted in that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the way she went. And
I think the funny part of that is when you say encourage their interests and passions is we have our interests and passions.
Right.
And doesn't mean that that's going to be theirs. No. And I didn't know anything about how to even steer a young girl towards what.
Right.
But it's funny how they just kind of they'll navigate towards something, and they'll find their way into that either with their friends or whatever it is, and just fostering that. We have a hard, fast rules. I don't care what you do, but you're going to do something.
Yes.
Right? You don't get to do nothing.
Right.
So that was kind of that way. Avery, we set that up with her where I wanted her to do one thing. She went into dance, and that's what we did. Dance.
Well, and one of our rules was once you start something, you got to finish it to the end of the season at least. Yeah. Build self-esteem with specific praises. So compliment their efforts and specific qualities rather than making generic statements. So that kind of goes hand in hand with anything that they do. Be genuine. I think people can read into that, especially if you don't know what to say. You just say what's on your heart, Well,
especially as a dad, I think, the girls, the relationship's definitely different between moms and girls and dads and girls, and them learning from an early age to help build their confidence with the praise and those things, but not everything. A majority of it shouldn't be related to their looks.
Right.
Absolutely. To their actions, to their abilities, to how they treat people. And I think driving that home for young women is massive, just because you don't want them growing up trying to capture that praise for just their looks or whatever it is, because there's so much more than that.
Right. Absolutely. When I'm talking about my daughter, when you have a daughter, they have a ability to play on the heartstrings. I mean, to this day, my daughter could do something wrong, and then she could come in and just jump on my lap and cuddle with me, and then it all goes away.
But it's not fair
It's not fair.
because the boys do that. And they don't get that treatment.
Oh no,
it's not
they
fair.
don't.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely different than raising boys. You want to jump into the next
Yeah,
one?
so empowering decision making. Give them opportunities to make choices, even small ones, to develop agency and confidence in their abilities. Yeah, definitely to the point of letting them make decisions and learn that they're just as capable of doing the things and making the decision and weighing the pros and cons of stuff.
One of the things that we've done, and this is to grow independence, right? Because that's what we're talking about, is being independent, making your own decisions. When we would go to a restaurant, a fast food restaurant, and it took my daughter a long time to figure this out, but my boys figured it out real quick. We would go in, I would have them order their meal. Each of them would order their meal, and we would order ours. And my daughter used to say, I want a cheeseburger. Okay, well, we'd order the cheeseburger, we get the food, we go sit down and we hand out, boys would order a meal. So the boys would get their fries, their burger, and their drink. And she sat there with a cheeseburger. And she's like, well, I wanted fries and a drink. I said, you didn't order that. Teaching her that she has to order the things that she wants, just to make those decisions and be thorough with what you're doing. So that was one of the things that we did. Teach problem solving skills. That's a big one. Allow them to tackle challenges on their own and guide them through the solutions instead of fixing everything for them. This is where I think parents have, including myself,
Guilty.
have the biggest issue.
Guilty.
Yeah. Man, for as many times as we jump in, we're doing them a disservice.
And I didn't realize that early.
No, same.
Realizing it now as they've gained independence.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just don't know.
Right.
From me saying, hey, go to AutoZone, tell them that you need wipers for your car. They'll even help you put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do I tell them?
Right.
Like,
right.
it just the simplest things, or paying a parking ticket.
Yeah.
She got a parking ticket, and the instructions were on there, but,
Yeah.
And what did I do?
You did.
I paid the parking
You
ticket.
did it for her,
So,
right? Yeah. Also when it comes to like problems at home, or if one of the kids did something wrong, it's making excuses for them. That can be an issue as well. Promote healthy body image.
Yeah.
That's huge, right? Discuss body positivity and focus on their inner strengths and rather than their appearances, which is what you were hitting on earlier.
Yeah, and I think with the body image piece, it's difficult as a guy, because I can have a conversation with another guy and be like, hey, you need to start working out, you need to do this,
Sure.
do that, right? And then with a girl, it's not the same. Just kind of guiding them through life choices or decisions about food or whatever it may be. It's hard with body image. And now, even spinning that with what social media is like and what they see as a perfect image. I relate it to like when we were younger in high school and there were all the magazines that everyone like looked at the magazines.
Oh, yeah.
Like you had to be the perfect, certain size in a magazine. Now it's social media and it's in their face every single day. And everyone's got their own fix or fad or
Right.
the trend for dieting. And God, some of the stuff scares me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to eat for 3 days. What?
Yeah. Well, it's also highlights, right? So you're seeing a bunch of highlight reels that's not real life.
Yeah. And everything's filtered.
Yeah, absolutely. It's filtered. That's right. Some of the things with Zoe, I'll just use because Zoe's my experience. They're also more prone to peer constructive or criticism, peer criticism, and that just changes. It'll mold and change the way that they believe in themselves, the way they think about themselves, and that's so hard to combat. Where boys, they can, sometimes they do, but not always, but they can just say whatever,
Yeah.
and brush it off.
A lot of times it's boys about it's what they're wearing or something.
Yeah.
Like that they'll give each other a hard time about. But with girls, it's everything.
Yeah, and their fights in schools are like ongoing drama throughout their whole high school career. But with guys, it's a fight, it's done, it's over with,
Yeah.
move on. So
So this next one, prepare for potential sexism. Talk openly about gender stereotypes and equip them with strategies to handle bias. This one I have to say I have a tough time with, not because I'm sexist, but I'm traditional.
sure.
I definitely feel, me personally, that a man and a woman should split things 50-50, but also I do believe that each has certain roles in a household, right? That's how I do my things. I think Avery understands that those things have to be defined in your own relationship and how you feel, and find someone that's compatible to that, right? But I've tried to raise her in a traditional sense.
Sure.
Like understanding how to cook and do the things like that, and to take care of a family. And if you want to be a mom and a stay-at-home mom, that's okay.
Yes.
Right? You should communicate that up front, and that should be an ability that you have. Because I personally believe that's the best investment you can make in kids.
Yes.
So this one's, I think it's just in a way of realizing that you're capable and you're equal, if not better.
Mm-hmm.
But also, it's okay to get in a relationship and define what that means for you guys. And that doesn't mean it's sexist. It means that that's what works for you.
Right. And I'll take us to a different perspective on a different level, not necessarily within a relationship, but within the world. There's already a construct that men are better than women. Now, I'm not talking physically. I'm not talking anything like that. But women can do things just as good as men in some aspects. Just not to lower your self confidence to where you don't think that you can compete in those levels, right? Because they already have a world that's against them.
Yeah.
For a long, I mean, heck, women didn't have voting rights until the 60s or something like that. So, I mean, there's already a lot of barriers that girls have to face, that they have to jump through, which I don't feel like that's right. I mean, we're all human.
Right.
It's just what they have to go through. And unfortunately, we have to be there to build them up from a young age to let them know that they can do anything.
Right. And then have the backbone to stand up.
That's
for
exactly right.
So
yeah,
sometimes you might have to put a high heel on and put it in someone's ass, and
that's right.
What you got to do it.
That's right. Highlight female role models in the world. That's a good one. Introduce them to successful women in various fields and inspire them and show them possibilities. So there's too many people that put actors and people that are not somebody that you can just touch on a pedestal. That is something that I think is huge, is putting your daughter around somebody that can speak to them, that's in a successful position.
Yeah, finding a good friend group with good parents.
Yes.
And people that they can relate to and see, or get them involved in your business and see successful business women, taking them to hear speakers and those kind of things.
Yeah. As well as introduce them to the people that also believe that share the same faith as you.
Yeah, I was going to say church would be a big one as well.
Yes. So foster empathy and kindness. So this one here is hard for men to do, for even wives or their daughters, but encourage compassion, respect for others, and standing up for what is right.
This one, we talk about a lot, just making sure you do the right thing, treat people the right way. The standing up for what's right. I think we talked about this with the boys last week. It's big, right? Be the one that makes the difference, and is not afraid to stand up against the crowd.
That's right.
And I think that's hard. In high school, I've seen that's hard.
Yes.
That's something where the crowd can turn quickly. And if you stand up against them, you're shunned.
Oh yeah. It's probably the hardest thing about growing up is going through school. Even back in our day, it was hard, but I think it's even harder now.
I couldn't imagine doing it now.
No. And we'll get into some of the old school stuff here in the next segment, but I want to touch on growing up in that era.
Yeah, this next one, communicate openly. Massive. I think this one, if there's anything that Avery and I do well now that we did not do well 2 years ago, it's communicate openly. And that was only done through building trust. Where she was able to talk to me about some things that she didn't feel like she could talk to anyone about. And I didn't react.
Yeah.
I wasn't shocked. I didn't judge. I just said, okay. Cool. Asked what she needed from me. Talked to her about it, how she was feeling. And then those conversations progressed. And now she'll tell me almost anything. To the point that now I'm like, stop.
Yes.
Stop. I don't want to know. That's a conversation for your mom or your stepmom, and like that's those conversations.
Yeah.
She's finding those boundaries for me.
Well, also when you're communicating, sometimes they just want you to listen, not necessarily want the advice.
Yeah.
Right. So that's something that I've had to learn the hard way, because that would pushed her away sometimes. It's like, Dad, I don't need the answers. I just want you to hear me.
But we want to fix it.
But we do want to fix it. That's right.
Like, I'll go punch someone in the mouth. Not a child. I won't punch a child.
Got to be 18.
I'll pay someone to punch a child.
Another child. Respect their boundaries. Listen to their needs and opinions, and avoid making assumptions about what they want. That's kind of what along the lines of what I just said about listening. But
boundaries is a big one.
Yeah.
Because at some point, you need to know stuff as a parent.
Right.
But you also need to respect that they're their own person at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you cross the line, we're going to have a tough conversation. But
yeah, I think
got to grow.
I think that's a fine line between parenting and respecting boundaries, right? I mean, you have rules as well that if they're not being met, the rules are being ran on that line. But also, privacy is a boundary. I think everybody runs into that because when they're little, you know everything about them. And then as they get a little bit older, they start to, have their own personal space. Yep. And then it's hard for parents to see that pull away. But yeah, having a daughter, I think the best part of that is the snuggles.
Yeah.
Young daughters. I mean, I still get snuggles to this day, and she's 21. And she's probably, my boys are 17 and 13 now, and I still get a little snuggles from 13-year-old, but that's not going to be.
It's almost gone.
It's almost gone, so.
It's nice to see when they're excited to see you and those kind of things. So
yeah, it is. It really is. So, all right. We'll be right back, and we'll jump into what it was like in the old days.
Yes.
Hey there, business owners, brands, marketers. Are you looking for a unique, hilarious, and highly engaged audience to showcase your products or services? Well, look no further than the Gray Area Podcast. We bring comedy, real talk, and unfiltered conversations straight to the ears of a rapidly growing fan base. Our listeners, they're smart, they love a good laugh, and they actually pay attention, unlike those skippable online ads. Sponsoring the Gray Area Podcast means getting your brand in front of a loyal audience that trusts us. And when we talk about something on the show, they listen. Plus, we don't just read ads. We integrate them naturally so they feel like they're a part of the conversation. Email us at thegrayapodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on our DMs on all of our social media platforms to learn more. Let's make some magic happen. The Gray Area Podcast, because nothing in life is black or white. You're listening to the Gray Area Podcast, where the answers aren't always black and white, but the laughs are guaranteed. And we're back.
Back and ready to roll.
Now let's talk about what it was like for you and me growing up in the 80s and 90s.
The good old days.
The good old days. So, thinking about this, we talk about what we're going to talk about in the podcast a little while ahead, and I was just going down memory lane, man. What it was like. First of all, we didn't have cell phones.
No, I had a beeper.
My brother had a beeper. I never did, but that was probably for extracurricular activities that weren't good.
Oh, mine was for good. Yeah, mine was for good
Yeah. Well,
stuff.
it's tough, right? So I've made a list of some things that we can talk about. Some of the things that I used to, toys, what we would eat, things that we did.
Looking at this list, I'm excited because there's some things like looking at. I'm like, this is amazing. Stuff.
Yeah, it's a good list. Well, first, Tamagotchis.
Tamagotchis.
I never really played with them, but they were around.
I killed them.
Yeah.
Just when you could kill a pet
Right.
on accident, you're fine. You're not a serial killer. You just
That was the little animals on the beat, like looked like a little thing. I think my sister had that, and we would try to kill her animal because they had to be fed, all kinds of stuff. A big one, talking about the internet, came around when we were kids. AOL, dial-up internet.
It's like midnight. You don't want anyone to know you're getting online. Like, quiet. Or you're online and you're doing something.
Oh, yeah.
Like even a school project or whatever, and then someone picks up the phone
It's a calls.
and it disconnects you.
And then you
Get off the phone. I'm on the internet.
Mom, I'm on the internet. I gotta get this paper done.
No respect. Can't wait till I get my own place.
Yeah, I know, right? But what else with the internet? So, yeah, chat rooms. Chat rooms were huge. I remember you used to sit down. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get on this chat room and just talk. It was like texting today.
Yeah.
You know?
Never knew who you were talking
Nope.
to, where they were at.
That's right. Well, one of the
How
chats,
dangerous.
very dangerous, right? At least people probably didn't use it. Maybe they did, but they don't use it like they do now. But one of the things that there was always like a chat on Napster. I don't know I never used Napster, but I may have used the chat. Because you know what Napster is?
Yes, I know what Napster
Oh, okay.
is.
So like LimeWire.
I use the heck out of Napster. Come after me, bro. Find my username, but give me all my songs.
Yeah, right. So I was on there one day and I was chatting with people, and lo and behold, I was chatting with the lead singer for Blink 182. I thought.
You thought?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You're right. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, what? And I started asking him all kinds of questions about Blink 182. Not like he couldn't get on the internet and Google everything. And then I was in. I believed it was him.
I don't think was Google a thing then.
Yeah,
I
it wasn't. It was
Ask Jeeves.
Jeeves was
You remember
a big,
Jeeves?
Yeah, or the paperclip. Do you remember the paperclip on the Windows
that thing
computers?
was cute. That was a cute little paperclip.
Lisa Frank books. You remember those?
The really colorful, like
Yeah,
unicorns.
that's right.
And ponies.
Yep. That
I
was.
didn't have any.
I didn't.
You still have them.
Yeah, I know. I got them over there actually.
Yeah, I know. For the important documents.
Right. Movie stores. Yeah. So, of course, there was the national chain like Blockbuster. And everybody would have a subscription or whatever it was, an account at Blockbuster. We had a family video. So it was just like it, but it was local. And Mom would always send us back to get videos, return videos, and they had to be rewound.
Yep.
Right?
Please be kind. Rewind.
Rewind, that's right. They also had that back room.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
The back room
I didn't go in there.
Yeah. Right. I snuck around a corner.
If I was looking for somebody,
If my
maybe
mom
they
was
were
on
in
the
there.
other side of the building, I was like, I'm gonna go check out the drama movies over here or the comedies, and because they were in sections,
Yeah.
and then maybe slip back there and say, "Whoa, what is this?"
So like I'm trying to think. I don't have a lot of great memories as good as Friday night.
Yeah.
Like you're out of school, and if you got to go and like pick up Little Caesars or CC's or Pizza Hut or whatever, like picking up a pizza, going to the movie store, and then starting at the new releases at A, and walking down all the way to Z, like figuring out what's new or not.
Right.
And then depending on the store, right, sometimes you'd have the cover of the movie and then the movie would be behind it.
Yeah.
And the excitement you'd have, like that
If it
new
was there.
movie was out and it's there
Yeah,
behind it. Or you go up to the front and you're like, hey,
Did somebody?
you got Independence Day?
Yeah. Did somebody return Independence Day? Oh, I remember
They've
that.
got it.
Oh yeah. Or mom would call and say, "Hey, can you hold this for me?"
Yep.
So they'd go pull it.
You get that, and then you get to pick out a video game.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Super Nintendo or something.
Yep.
There wasn't a better Friday night. Your cousins come over or something like that, and you're watching movies, eating pizza, and playing video games all night.
Oh yeah. That was the best.
Yeah.
And we didn't have like a Little Caesars. We didn't have like we did have a Pizza Hut, but the Pizza Hut was old school Pizza Hut, right? So it was the fun. That's where you went to after games. And you had the red cups. Mm-hmm. You had the red and black and white chandeliers.
The buffet.
The salad bar, whatever you wanted. That was the good old days of Pizza Hut.
I actually worked at one.
Did you really? Mm-hmm. Oh wow, that's awesome.
Waited tables.
So if you've ever watched what's the video? Is it Grown Ups? Adam Sandler's video. Don't they go to Pizza Hut after the game?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So that was what it was like when I was a kid at that Pizza Hut exactly. And you always knew the waitresses. They were always kids from that that area school, and you always knew all the people that worked there. So, what else?
I put this one on here. Your own personal phone line.
Yeah.
That's when you know you were like pretty much grown.
You were him.
Like your parents had a line.
Yeah.
But if you want to call me, let me give you the number to my room. Right? And I had my phone was like a red truck, like an old Chevy truck phone.
Pickup.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I had an answering machine. And I would play songs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You'd record
like
it.
leading up to it. And then I'd be like, hey.
This is Travis.
No, I'd say Bubba. I was called Bubba then.
Oh.
Fun fact for you.
This is Bubba.
This is Bubba. You know what to do.
Oh.
Yeah. It was,
so did your phone line, because I never had one in my room, but we got a phone number for the kids, and it would ring. It would ring twice, and if it just was that was the parents' number. If it rang twice, it was for kids. So my parents didn't even touch the phone. They just let the sucker ring.
I had never heard of that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was kind of high tech.
It sounded like a pigeon. Like that's when you knew the bird was there. You're that old. The bird was there, like delivering the letter.
Yeah. But yeah, those were because we had 3 kids. We couldn't have a phone line in a room.
Yeah.
And me and my brother shared a room, and my sister had the room right next to us. But floppy disks. So in school, everything was saved on a big old floppy disk. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Beanie Babies. Do you remember the Princess Diana Beanie Baby?
I remember a lot of those. I was actually talking to Stephanie about Beanie Babies the other day, and apparently she was a big collector and had a bunch of them and then sold them years ago, and she's like, I should have held on to them.
Yeah. Well, you think... just like baseball cards. The baseball cards was huge back in the day. I held on to mine for years, and then we had a garage sale, and I sold all my Barry Bonds rookie cards.
I still have all mine.
Do you really? Mm-hmm. So I ended up going back and buying a bunch off of eBay, like my Bo Jackson card, any Frank Thomas rookie card, all of those that I had. But I did buy them back.
Jackson and I opened some and actually ate the gum.
Oh,
like last year.
From Topps?
Yeah.
Oh, nasty.
It's not, it wasn't good.
That thing just fell apart in your mouth. Slap bracelets. Did you play with slap bracelets?
We're not talking about handcuffs.
No.
Right?
No.
I haven't worn those before, but yeah, the slap bracelets, those were popular.
Yeah, we tried to hurt each other with them.
Yeah.
And then if you took the cover off of them, they were sharp. Yeah, because
Did you
it was
go to prison.
They were shanks, man.
Making a shank. We didn't have a real pizza joint where I grew up.
No. One of the other things. So you mentioned Super Nintendo games. Mm-hmm. All of the old school Nintendo. So I grew up. My first game system was an NES, a Nintendo Entertainment System. I got that 89, and me and my dad would play. Mario Brothers. We'd play Zelda. We played Contra was a big game back in the day.
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles was
that one?
Yeah.
That
Oh
was
yeah, I had
favorite.
Ninja Turtles. One of my other favorite, Master Blaster, Metal Gear Solid. Man, there was so many. Me and my dad, he was divorced at that point. Tecmo Bowl. Yeah, what can I say his name? Bo Jackson was a cheat code.
Bo Jackson. But you had to run down and then back up and around.
Yeah.
Scored every time.
That's right. Yeah, the high five.
Yep.
They weren't looking at elbows then.
No.
The Super Nintendo, Super Mario World. I always beat all of those. Did you ever have a Sega?
A humble brag.
Yeah, it was humble.
Hey, I just always beat the video games.
Did you ever have a Sega? Mm-hmm. It was Sonic.
Sonic.
Yeah. And then we moved into the
What was
PlayStation.
the Sega one? There was one that was like a fox, like Star Fox.
Oh, I think that
Played
was
that was Sega.
was it Sega?
Oh, yeah.
Star Fox, yeah.
Then Super Nintendo, Super Nintendo and N64.
N64, Dreamcast. I always played the fishing game on Dreamcast.
N64 was
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, but then
GoldenEye.
yeah,
Yeah.
007 GoldenEye.
We played GoldenEye in college.
Because you could have 4 screens,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and that's what you did. You
That's it.
salted
Grind all night.
Yeah.
With your buddies. And then PlayStation came out.
Yep.
And that's when like the Maddens came out. What was the I got this mixed up with Star Fox, but there was like Crash Bandicoot. Mm-hmm. I played that a lot on PlayStation. Before all these though, I played Doom on a computer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
That
BFG.
was so violent.
It was, and I got to play it in my ag class.
We were playing it at school
yeah,
all the time.
with the teacher.
Went from one day playing Minesweeper,
Oh my!
not knowing the rules. I'm just clicking on stuff. Like,
was a beast.
I think I have 1,000,000 points. I don't know what's happening. And then I look over and I remember my buddy Clint was playing Doom. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, that was so
Can't
awesome.
do that. There's so much blood.
Wasn't that the first person shooter game?
I think so.
Yeah, that's such an awesome game.
Probably gonna get roasted by someone because we're wrong, but I feel like
Probably.
it's right.
How about MTV? Back when they played
They
music.
played
video?
music?
Yeah. So my favorite memory as a kid is we would always go to my grandma's house. We called her Nan, and that was the only place we could watch. She had cable, and we would watch MTV there. And in 1985, the Chicago Bears went to the Super Bowl, and they won. And they had the Super Bowl Shuffle, and that's where I watched it on MTV for the first time. And then we recorded it, so every weekend I'd come back there, I'd watch. We're just here to do the Super Bowl Shuffle.
See, I wasn't big on MTV until late 90s, early 2000s with Real World,
Oh yeah,
TRL, Total Request Live,
Yep.
Carson Daly,
yeah,
right?
yep.
But it was funny. We were in the car and I was listening to Sirius XM the other day, and downtown Julie Brown
Oh,
hosts a
yeah.
show on the 90s, I think. It is.
That's cool.
And he's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "That's downtown Julie Brown."
Yeah.
He's like, "Okay."
Or Head Bashers Ball. I don't know if you remember that.
That was on late, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It was all just heavy metal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love that. Of course, Polly Pockets was a big thing. I had
For you?
No, for my sister. Walkman and Discman. Man, when we graduated from the cassette Walkman, that was to be able to take music with you was a big deal.
Yeah.
And then to a Discman, you'd have that sucker. At that point in time, you had the deal where you could put the cassette into the car and play your
would
CDs.
convert?
Yeah.
The Discman, though, like you had to have the anti-skip.
Yes. Yes. Or put your Discman on like a pillow or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember I spent one of my first paychecks on like a really nice Discman, and then the first CD I bought for it was Metallica's Black Album.
Ooh.
And I remember going on a field trip to Corpus Christi to go pick up trash on the beach. And I had that, and I was the coolest guy on there. People were like, "Let me listen." I'm like, "No, you
Yeah.
can't handle this.
No.
You ain't this hard."
Hey, Sharon.
bro."
No,
I didn't say
bro.
bro. I was just like,
Have that bros now.
no.
So
I had hair then.
look
Like
at you, Mr. Clean over here.
I had a chili bowl.
A chili. Oh yeah, bowls were hot back then. That was the thing. So what was your first CD?
That was it.
Oh, Metallica was
Metallica. My first tape was I think was Vanilla Ice,
your. Oh, nice.
if I remember right.
So I didn't have to buy cassettes because my dad had all the cassettes. He had records, and so he had like all the White Snake, the Poison, all the good hair bands. My first CD was Michael Jackson, Bad.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it was Bad or it was Beat It. One of the it was one of those albums. But yeah, that was
that's
awesome.
a good choice.
Yes.
My first record that I bought because I was living with my grandparents at the time was Weird Al.
Oh, nice.
Thought that was super cool.
I remember when
He's
Weird Al.
actually coming to the Woodlands this year.
Is
I'm
he
like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Excuse me. Sorry. How about disposable cameras?
Disposable napkins and wipe your face. Yeah, disposable cameras.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool and frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Because you'd take 24 pictures.
Yep.
Maybe if you're lucky, it had 27. You got a couple extra spins on it.
Yep.
And then you go drop it off at Walmart.
Or CVS.
And then 2 weeks later, you get them back and you're like, what the hell was that?
Yeah. What I always thought about when I dropped them off was like, these people are going to see my pictures.
What kind of pictures were you taking?
Well, I'm just saying, what if they were some intimate pictures? They weren't. Because
you were like 13.
I know, but what I also
a lot hasn't changed apparently.
I also thought, well, I'm also taking this camera from my parents. What are they doing? I never knew. So, anyways,
The fact that was a thought.
yeah, I didn't want to be embarrassed picking up nasty pictures.
Yeah, it's a funny story about that. I worked at HEB when they had the photo centers.
Yeah.
And I had friends that worked in the photo center. People did turn those in.
I'm sure they did.
And I was in management. I just had to determine whether or not we could keep them or throw them away.
Keep them or throw them away.
Not keep them for me, but give them to the people.
Yeah, yeah. He had his own little photo book.
It's fine.
Reebok pumps. Yeah.
No, not for me.
You never had Reebok pumps? Those were the coolest things. You pump up the tongue?
I didn't have a lot of them. I know what they are. I had Hakeem Elijah ones from Payless.
Oh, yeah. Well, I never
were
had.
fine.
I mean, I did. I had. Well, actually, my brother got them for basketball, so that's how I knew they were cool. I tried them on.
Did they help you?
Not me, because I'm short. I had no reason to wear them because I couldn't jump.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a wrestler, not a basketball player, baseball player. This was my favorite as a kid. TGIF. Thank goodness it's Friday.
Friday nights.
Yes.
TV was the best.
Always. Yeah. Well,
I'm
mean,
looking at the shows you have on there. That's like.
That was it. Yeah. Saved by the Bell. Zach Morris.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Screech. So we grew up to the timeout. And then all the actors stopped. I thought that was so cool.
And then talking to the camera.
Yeah, and then he'd come up and talk. Family Matters, Urkel, right? And Laura.
Yeah.
Full House. He had the Olsen twins. Joey.
I feel like you're missing one.
Am I? Step by Step.
Mm-hmm.
Dinosaurs. Not a mama.
I loved that show.
Yes. And Hanging with Mr. Cooper was one of them. Which one do you think I'm missing? Because I'm probably missing one or two, maybe three. I don't know.
Oh, man.
Because there were some good shows on Friday.
That's going to bother me. I got to look it up while we're talking. Keep going.
So not only just go with the Friday stuff, but even after school cartoons. We used to watch Power Rangers. Of course, Saved by the Bell was always on then. There was like a lineup that you watched all the way up until dinner. And the kids would just be plopped up on the couch watching it. What is it?
I'm thinking Step by Step.
I said that.
Did you?
Oh no, I didn't. Yeah, I said Step by Step.
It's on there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Now, hey,
Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World was a good one. Yep. Can you do the theme songs?
No.
Oh yeah. I could recognize them.
I could recognize them.
Yeah,
I couldn't
especially
sing
Full
'em.
House, Step by Step, Family Matters. Anyways,
Full House was my favorite by far.
yeah, Danny. Yeah,
So
Uncle
many good
Jesse.
life lessons.
Yeah, for real.
Kids don't get that anymore.
No,
You just screw up, and there's consequences.
I always thought that Dawson's Creek was another one. Yeah, I always thought that Uncle Jesse was my hero. He was the coolest uncle.
I like Joey.
Joey was funny. Cut it out.
Did you say
Yeah.
Hey, if you younger generation, if you're watching this, go back and just watch some of those episodes. You'll understand the allure, the nostalgia
I'd
of.
be bored.
No,
Bored.
it'd be great.
Be like, what are they wearing? Cool clothes.
Where's their cell phones?
Yeah. I tried to go by. I was in San Francisco a few months ago, and I tried to go by the Full House.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Where the map took me was not like a good place to stop or anything. I really couldn't identify it, and I felt like a lot of pressure because there's just a lot of there's a lot going on. And I was like, all right, I'm not stopping.
It's a rare condition this day and age, right?
Wow, it's really good.
Yeah, I know.
Wow,
Professional. Anyway, you got anything else you want to add to the list? There's a lot of good stuff that happened back in the day. Oh, CRT computers, the big computers. And do you remember, I don't know if you did this, but in like elementary, we would play Oregon Trail.
every day.
Every day. And you could never beat that thing.
I did.
No way.
Multiple. Swear
No
I
way.
Did. Swear I did.
No way.
I swear I did. Like multiple times I beat it.
How'd you get past the wolves or the weather?
It wasn't the wolves or the
What was
weather. You had to get past dysentery and that freaking river at the end.
Yeah, the river.
There's like a final river at the end.
Yeah, that's where I always died. Mm-hmm. Man, I'm having nightmares because of that right now. Like bad flashbacks.
Because of dysentery?
Yeah,
I think you're going to be okay.
I'm probably going to be okay. But that game right there probably instilled in me my competitiveness playing video games to this day.
You can still find it. There's a website where you can
Is
go
there?
on and play it. I found it a few years ago, and it's like the old school version of it.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it maybe gave a virus to whatever I was playing on. But
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, yeah. So those are some of the things that we used to do.
you want to know what the most beautiful part of that time frame was, though?
What's that?
I don't have any proof.
Yeah, yes. Right. So, talking about, raising kids, kids get themselves in so much trouble because of their cell phones and putting on Facebook or taking videos. I remember catching my daughter. She used to yell at us if we would slip up and say a curse word. And then I had her phone one day and it was open to the photos and the video was right there. And I clicked on it. It was her rolling down a hill in a tire at school, cussing a storm up. I was like, oh, okay. So this is what's going on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For me, it was I told you I was going over to this house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I was in a field. I don't know. I won't own up to it. But what I'll tell you is you didn't Life 360 me.
No. Or Apple track by Apple.
And nobody was walking around with disposable cameras at
No.
Johnny's house.
We used to jump out a 2-story window and into a bush.
For you, that's a first floor.
So then when I was jumping out, it was like a 7-story building, right? And we'd land in a bush and then we'd run across the field, probably 2 miles to a buddy's house. And we'd hang out there all night long. And then we'd come home at like 4 a.m. before mom and dad got up. And we'd come in the front door, sneak right up to our room like nothing happened. Yeah. What happened over at those houses? I don't know because I don't remember. But it was probably not good.
Yeah. I was just like, this makes me just go down like trash can punch, right? Injecting a watermelon.
Oh, yeah. Apple pucker?
Ew.
Did you ever have that? No?
No. Boone, Strawberry Hill.
Oh, yeah. Mad Dog 2020?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Staple. Fruit punch.
Fruit punch, yes. Yeah. Oh, tattoo. Did you ever hear about tattoo? The drink tattoo.
No.
So this was like, I don't know. So the house that we would go to, okay, maybe I do remember some of the stuff that happened. The house that we would go to, there was an older boy there who was able to buy alcohol. And they were all like, oh, this will turn your poop into a different color. So it was like different flavors, different colors. And then when we go home,
The poop would be different flavors?
No, I don't know about flavors, but it was definitely a different color. So that we all thought that was cool. Aftershock.
There's a lot of questions on this poop story that I have now. Like, why were y'all looking at each other's poop?
No, we weren't looking at each other's. Although with my brother, I would say, Adam, come check this out. It works. He maybe had the green one and I had the red one. Okay, this is enough of that.
Yep.
Goldschlager.
Goldschlager.
So did you know,
Yes.
to this day,
Twice.
yeah, that there's enough gold in a bottle of Goldschlager that if you collected it, you could take it and get money for it, that it's enough to buy another bottle of Goldschlager. True story.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so get the cheesecloth out and filter them gold
Wasn't it cinnamon flavored?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Aftershock definitely was.
Yeah, and Aftershock had the crystals in it that we would break the bottle and get the crystals and eat the crystals. So that was a college thing.
Anyway, don't drink.
No,
underage.
it's bad for you. Bad for you. And you're not allowed.
You're going to end up 40-something with a podcast. Doesn't end well.
Literally.
Literally.
So, all right. Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Memory lane. This has been fun.
It's been a blast.
All right, we come back. We're going to dive into the junk drawer and see what happens with good old dudes, good foods, old dudes, good moods. Stay right there. Hey there, business owners, brands, marketers. Are you looking for a unique, hilarious, and highly engaged audience to showcase your products or services? Well, look no further than the Gray Area Podcast. We bring comedy, real talk, and unfiltered conversations straight to the ears of a rapidly growing fan base. Our listeners, they're smart, they love a good laugh, and they actually pay attention, unlike those skippable online ads. Sponsoring the Gray Area Podcast means getting your brand in front of a loyal audience that trusts us. And when we talk about something on the show, they listen. Plus, we don't just read ads. We integrate them naturally so they feel like they're a part of the conversation. Email us at thegrayapodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on our DMs on all of our social media platforms to learn more. Let's make some magic happen. The Gray Area Podcast, because nothing in life is black or white. You're listening to the Gray Area Podcast, where the answers aren't always black and white, but the laughs are guaranteed. And we're back with the last segment of the junk drawer. Travis, how you feeling today?
I feel amazing and bald.
Yeah, you look
It's
like
the first time I haven't worn a hat on the podcast.
Maybe that's what it is. Even though I said you look like you got a haircut.
Yeah.
But there probably wasn't much up there, was there?
Mm-mm. And then I didn't think about it, like it's shaved today, and then the lights and the glare. So, sorry, guys.
Blinded by the baldness. Hey, I want to show you guys this. Travis's wife, Stephanie, made a shirt, and it says the Gray Area Podcast. Travis is wearing it as well. It's a long sleeve. What do they call it? Three-quarter?
Three-quarter sleeve.
Three-quarter sleeve. And then my wife made one as well. So we'll have merch available eventually, and that's the Gray Area Podcast, and it's got a tagline underneath that, and that's just a regular black, Heather Black shirt. So awesome. Our wives are very resourceful and
they're
creative.
supportive of the podcast because
supportive.
When we're doing this, we are not bothering them.
That's true. That's
so
true.
They have asked us to do a 10-hour episode.
A 10-hour, yeah.
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 And we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Maybe, yeah. We'll do a marathon.
Yeah.
I asked my wife if she listens to the podcast. She says no. I was like, oh. And I kind of, my shoulders dropped. She goes, it's because I listen to it every day, every time you guys record it live. So no reason for me to listen to it.
Yeah, the last one, episode 4, she really came out as a villain. Kind of a bully.
Yeah. She was bullying her way into the conversation. But, she's very opinionated and likes to be heard.
She was heard.
She was heard. All right, let's drive. Let's jump into the junk drawer with old dudes.
So much trouble saying junk
I do.
drawer.
Junk drawer. I do. That's a tongue twister for me.
Yeah, junk drawer.
So we've got 3 additions to junk drawer of the old dudes. Patrick has been our biggest supplier of videos. So if you have a video that you want to send us, hit us up on the email at thegrayapodcast@gmail.com. Find us on any of the social medias and send it to us there. So let's jump in. This is the Donut Bank one, so check it out.
Welcome to the first ever episode of Old Dudes in Good Foods. We're here at the Donut Bank. There's no deposits at this bank. Withdrawals only, baby. Withdrawal complete. This has been another episode, or actually the first episode, of Old Dudes with Good Foods.
The Donut Bank. I've never heard of that before.
No, but it makes me hungry.
Yeah, that's got to be a Southern Indiana thing. I love his slogans there. It's no deposits, withdrawals only, baby. Withdrawal made.
Withdrawal.
Oh yeah,
He didn't show what he bought, did he?
No, he didn't. Which I was disappointed because did he get a kolache? Did he get Long John?
I think he was afraid we would bully him.
Probably.
For how many he got.
Oh, how many? I did see one box, so at least a dozen.
We saw one box.
True, there could be another 3 dozen in the car. Yes, we got questions, Patrick.
What'd you get, Patrick?
Yeah, and how many? Like, we need to know this because that tells us a lot about you.
And when should we expect our withdrawal from
Withdrawal.
the Donut Bank?
Yeah, I'll be in Indy Friday and Saturday, so meet me up there. I know Evansville is not that far away. Let's jump into the second one. This is about grocery prices. Let's check it out. Welcome to another episode of Old Dudes in Bad Moods. What's up with $6 eggs? Guess I figured out why everybody's raising their own chickens now. This has been another episode of Old Dudes in Bad Moods. $6 and some change for eggs. I'm not paying that.
No, I'm not.
I think it's $3.99 here.
I don't know what I'm paying, but it hasn't shocked me.
Yeah,
to where I've noticed it.
Yeah,
but I do know that apparently, like,
that's a thing.
That's a thing,
right? Yeah, you hear it on the news.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, when I went to the grocery store the other day, I was like, $3.99. That ain't bad. That's about what it's always been. Maybe a little more. Yeah, although I think it would be cool to have our own chickens.
Your own chickens?
Yeah. That would be fun. I don't know how they would do in the pool, but
like with the water still in it?
Yeah, because I have a pool in the backyard.
Like, you want to put the chickens in the pool?
No,
I was going to say my guess is that they're not going to do well in the pool. I don't know if chickens can chickens swim?
Yeah, that's why I don't even know. I got a buddy.
Or does that make it a duck?
Ooh.
Does a swimming chicken become a duck?
A duck. Well, I know you have a chicken coop, but you normally let them free range around the backyard to get all the bugs out of the backyard. You're not a farmer. Why am I asking you?
I'm not. And farmers don't have chickens.
Yes, they
farmers
do.
Have products. Ranchers have chickens.
No. Up north, farmers have chickens.
Whatever.
And I think farmers here have chickens too.
Can chickens swim?
That's a good question. We need the
Mr. Farmer?
I don't know.
I'm going to go on to farmersonly.com and ask.
You don't have to be lonely at farmersonly.com.
Like, isn't this a chat room for farming questions?
Oh my god! See
if it works.
Yeah, let's see if it does. Chickens. I'm putting that on the list. Got to do it. Last video of Old Dudes. Let's check it out. Welcome to another edition of Old Dudes and Good Foods. Yeah, he's an old dude too.
Well, I guess I got the toothpick, so that makes me a little bit old.
That's right. We're here this morning, nice wintry cold morning at an old dude place. Bob Evans.
It's so old. I think by the time I'm in there, I think I aged about 20 years just this morning.
Well, yeah, possibly. You look old. One of the key tricks to being an old dude and being in a good mood with some good food is you got to order enough to have leftovers to take home.
Yeah, and you know you're old when you do that, especially because the story was that you're here like every day, and sometimes you eat the food before you even get home to have it for leftovers.
Well,
but when you're that old, that's what happens.
That server
you got nothing else to do.
Told you way too much information about me. We're going to sign off now. This is the final edition of Old Dudes in Good Foods.
I've never been to a Bob Evans.
Really? Bobby Evans is the best breakfast.
Did you just Robert Evans?
No, it's Bobby Evans.
Robert Evans.
It's the young one.
Robert Evans side.
I'm telling
the third.
you. Bobby Evans is a great restaurant. And yes, it is so true. That's where the old people go. And they stay there all day.
Do they have good biscuits?
Yes.
I judge a breakfast place by its
biscuits.
Yeah.
Best B&G ever. Maybe not ever, but it's really good.
Did you just shorten biscuits and gravy to B&G?
Yes.
Who the hell does that?
This guy.
Hey, lady, I'll take some B&J.
Can I get some Ben-J, please?
That's how you get your ass kicked out of a breakfast place.
No, they know what B&G is. If you're in the south of Indiana, B&G is the bee's knees. Anyways, so sounds like Patrick goes to Bob Evans a lot. And I think I may have aged 10 years watching that video.
Because of Bob Evans, or because Patrick took a long time to tell us about the food?
because of Bob Evans.
Oh yeah, Robert's
No, Bobby
Boucher.
Ooh, there's a Waterboy reference. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Of course. All right. That's it for us. The Gray Area Podcast. Make sure you check in and you follow us on everything. We hope you've had as much fun listening as we have recording and just being crazy and just telling you everything that we have, what's on our minds. If you've enjoyed the show, make sure you subscribe, leave us a review, share it with your friends. I've been sharing it. Have you?
Yeah.
Okay. Share with your
I
friends.
got like 3 friends.
I could tell. And find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube.
Yeah.
As the Gray Area Podcast. And don't forget, follow us on social media to stay updated and send us your thoughts and topics for future episodes. Find us on X at the Gray A Podcast, Instagram, same thing, the Gray A Podcast, TikTok, the Gray A Podcast, and Facebook. This is where it changes, the Gray Area Podcast. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you. Find me on MySpace. Until next time, keep it real, keep it funny, and keep talking.
Yeah, keep talking. Adios.